A rash of kidnappings across the West today. A local group is taking kids' pictures, capturing their fingerprints, arming moms and dads with what they need in case their child is abducted. Arming parents is tonight's Channel 2 News big story. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Curtis Ming. Well, Danielle Van Dam, Samantha Runyon, Erica Pratt, all names we've heard in recent weeks, all kidnapped kids. Would you have enough information about your child if they were taken? A youth football league in the Reno area wants to make sure you do and is raising money while arming parents with the best defense in case of an abduction.
Smile for me, okay, baby? On 1, 2, 3.
Snapping photos, taking fingerprints, documenting height and weight. Parents are getting important information printed up about their kids.
So many parents have no idea, how tall their child is, how much their child weighs, and if their child ended up missing and they were to report this, at least they have all of this information readily available.
Teams in the Sierra Youth Football League are raising money. Instead of selling candy bars, they brought in the Kids Safe Child ID Network.
Kind of scares us. All these kids have been going missing lately. We came down to get them all IDs and just to be safe.
The program is completely digital. Fingerprints taken with this machine pop up on a computer screen. So does the child's face, weight, and height. Parents walk away with a printout, ID cards, and a floppy disk with all of the information.
We can hand it over to the police or anything, and then they have their fingerprints, their DNA.
His right thumb.
Law enforcement says having this information could speed up the process and getting word out if your child is taken.
With the Kids Safe and the Amber Alert, that it all coincides together. Anytime we could do anything to help, keep kids safe, that's a good thing.
Do you have asthma?
It is every parent's nightmare, but if the unexpected happens, these parents feel better knowing they're armed with the tools to bring their kids back safely.
And it's hard to do this because of that, just to even think about it. But on the other hand, I would want any tools available to me to find her.
About 120 kids had their information taken today. The problem is these programs come from out of town, so you have to jump on them while they're here. Today's program wrapped up at about 5, so if you want information on when they may be back, go to our website after the newscast, and we will link you to the Kids Safe Child ID Network. By the way, the cost, $15 for your first child, $10 for each additional. Well, the condition of a Reno toddler shot by his 3-year-old brother is improving tonight. 1-year-old Richie Getton has been taken out of intensive care and is in a regular room at Washoe Medical Center after his brother got a hold of a gun and shot him yesterday morning. The bullet went completely through his leg and out the other side. His father says he thought the gun was out of reach of his kids, hidden underneath clothes in a dresser drawer. Now he wants to put out a message to parents.
Just keep your guns out of reach. If you don't need them, don't have them.
Investigators say the father could face criminal charges for child endangerment. The boy should be going home within a few days. Reno police investigators are asking businesses to reevaluate how they handle their trash after a local doctor's identity was stolen. 5 people were arrested yesterday. Investigators say they tried to buy a computer from a Reno store with a local doctor's credit. Police say the suspects found his credit card number and personal information by digging through the trash of some local businesses. Investigators are asking all businesses to shred documents before throwing them away to protect their customers. And we want to remind you, if you see news happening, we want to know about it. All you have to do is dial *2 on your Cricket cell phone, and you will be connected right here to our newsroom. Well, we're in the middle of the Labor Day weekend, and it just wouldn't be right without a barbecue. And I would dare to say one of the biggest barbecues anywhere is happening right now in Sparks. The 14th annual Best in the West Rib Cook-Off is in full swing now at Victorian Square. Rib cookers from around the globe are barbecuing with their best recipes. And our very own John Potter is out there tonight. John, is it good ribs eating weather out there right now?
Oh, it's always good weather for eating ribs, Curtis. Of course, we're here at the Rib Eating Festival, and this is, oh my gosh, it's Michael Jordan! No, really, what's your name?
Steven.
Steven, what's your favorite food?
Clams.
Clams. Well, the ribs are great. We're going to get to that in a few moments. But first, of course, the weather. As we take a look and see what our satellites have been showing today. A couple of clouds, mid-level clouds coming up from a tropical disturbance, which is falling apart way off in the southwest ocean. As we take a look at where the rain is today, nothing really much except for a little bit of thunderstorm activity over Montana. We do have a strong low-pressure system that's going to be dropping in but it's going to be a dry one, but a bit cold, and that's going to shake up our 5-day forecast, which we're going to show you in just a couple of minutes. How's the clam? I'm sorry, the rib.
Good?
Okay, not as good as a clam, though, is it?
No.
All right, we're going to be back with Steven. We're here at Sparks. Curtis, back to you.
All right, thanks, John. Well, Labor Day weekend, the unofficial end to summer, and for many, the last weekend to camp. But campers are being turned away at a Sierra Park because of a possible outbreak of the plague. A chipmunk and a cat tested positive for the disease earlier in the week, forcing the closure of Donner Memorial State Park near Truckee. Park rangers aren't taking any chances, keeping the 150 campsites off limits until test results come back on some dead squirrels found in the area. The plague is carried by fleas and can be deadly in humans if not treated. Health officials are putting out a message to those who have found a place to camp this weekend. Make sure you're covered up and wearing mosquito repellent to protect yourself from the West Nile virus. Some campers at the Davis Creek campground in the Washoe Valley say they are taking precautions.
I've brought some spray for the kids, a special spray just for the kids, and then the adults have been spraying down with some off. And probably before dusk, we'll start spraying everybody down.
The mosquito-borne virus is making its way west already in Colorado and Wyoming. It is expected to reach Nevada by the fall. That's just 3 weeks away. The Centers for Disease Control reports 555 people have become infected this year. 28 have died. Well, good news when it comes to the blood supply. The emergency in the Truckee Meadows is over. Dwindling supplies earlier in the week forced United Blood Services to call the emergency. 900 of you responded, and that made it possible to change the blood supply status from an emergency level to adequate. But that doesn't mean your blood isn't needed. Officials say they can always use your donation.
Coming up on Channel 2 News.
There's a celebration going on in Fallon, and it's all for a fruit. Coming up in tonight's Nevada Backroads, Jack Sutton visits with one cantaloupe farmer.
Well, you've heard of Burning Man. This is Burning Ribs. We're in Sparks with the full weather forecast coming up next.
John Potter out having fun at Victoria Square with the ribs. John, what's the forecast?
Oh, I'll tell you what, Curtis, the aroma here, you can imagine the great rib cook-off, and I've been doing what a lot of rib... Now, come to think of it, that was good eating weather, too, when I think about it. This is John Potter. Rib Festival, the cook-off is going on, I'm sure, until late tonight. You might want to take the bus, though. It's very congested here in downtown Sparks Victorian Square. Curtis?
All right, thanks, John. Well, do you like cantaloupe? If you do, then you should head out to Fallon. Coming up in tonight's Backroads, we'll visit with one farmer who's dedicated his life to the heart of the gold. Thanks for watching Channel 2 News, KTVN, coverage you can count on.
This is Channel 2 News at 6:30, covering Northern Nevada and the Sierra. Channel 2 News, coverage you can count on.
This weekend's Heart of Gold Festival in Fallon marks more than 50 years of celebrating the famous Nevada cantaloupe. So just what's so special about the little melon from Lahontan? Jack Sutton visited Workman's Farm and has this story from Nevada's Backroads.
In the fields of the Lahontan, nature has created ideal conditions for growing food, a formula of sun and warmth, of soil and water, and of time. The result is the legendary gold of the desert.
Well, the speciality of this here dirt is the black ash that blew out of the lake behind me over here. That's what makes this here field special. So lake dirt.
Now, what's so special about the melons?
Well, it's to be the distinct flavor. Yeah, they're heirloom melon. They come back with the same seed. They can come back no problem. Like a hybrid can't. So.
Tell me how you grow these things. You got to prepare the ground and stick a seed in, and then hope for rain, or how do you grow these things?
Lots of water, good fertilizer, and just keeping an eye on them.
Now you're not picking them all. They're passing some up.
Yes, because they're not ready to eat. They're not vine ripe yet. They actually fall off the vine. This here part right here actually severs itself from the vine, falls off,
then?
Yes, this is a true vine ripe now. This is the one that's ready to sell.
Ready to sell?
Yeah, ready in 2 to 3 days.
Ready to eat?
It's ready to go.
The harvest is a time for celebration. The farmer will take his bounty into town where everyone can enjoy and marvel at what the land has created.
It's coming out with a good product, and if I can, get some people, they always brag about how good the Heart of Gold is, and and the bottom line is I've enjoyed it all my life.
In Fallon, Jack Sutton, Channel 2 News.
Fascinating. All right, Garrett Dearborn here with sports. What's going on?
Oh man, Wolfpack football opening up the season with 12th ranked Washington State. This one, folks, had the Pack leading 7-0 through the first. We'll tell you how it ended up, but also some high school ball, Incline and Dayton from Galena High School. Stick around, sports coverage you can count on next on Channel 2. Michelle Moore, something else. She's about 6'3", really tall.
Tall gal. Labor Day weekend, good thing we have a good old American holiday of baseball, huh? Especially when our teams are winning, the Giants teams win.
It's great that baseball's still around, but I got to tell you, I am stoked for the college football season.
Right.
I love it when this time of year comes around. Fortunately, the Wolfpack couldn't open it up as well as they want to, but they get another shot on the 14th with Brigham Young.
There we go.
We'll see there.
Do it then. All right, coming up, it's not your regular boat race, giant river boats racing across Tahoe. We will take you there. Thanks for watching Channel 2 News, KTVN, coverage you can count on. A beautiful start to the holiday weekend out on Lake Tahoe, and if you were out there, you may have seen 2 giant river boats racing.
3, 2, 1, go.
The Tahoe Queen representing California and the MS Dixie 2 representing Nevada raced 6 miles across the waters of Tahoe today. It's the only race of its kind west of the Mississippi. People from all over the world were on hand, including actress Lonnie Anderson. There she is. When it was through, California's boat won 3 minutes ahead of Nevada's. I just loved her in WKRP in Cincinnati. She was just great.
I was waiting for you to do some play-by-play on that.
I could have. It was a sporting event right there, right on Tahoe.
We'll see. We're going to run it again at 11?
Yeah, possibly. And you know what? I think we're going to hear from Lonnie Anderson at 11. So if you didn't have another reason to watch, there you go. All right, that's it for this edition of Channel 2 News at 6:30. We hope to see you back here tonight at 11 o'clock. Until then, have a great night, everybody.
Band, now your local news.
Straight ahead on Channel 2 News, Northern Nevada parents are arming themselves with the best defense in case their child is abducted. Plus, a bizarre story of mistaken identity. You'll meet parents who were told their son was dead to find someone else in his casket. Then an update on the condition of the 1-year-old Reno boy shot by his 3-year-old brother. This is Channel 2 News at 11 o'clock. A rash of kidnappings across the West. Today, a local group is arming moms and dads with what they need in case their child is abducted. Arming parents is tonight's Channel 2 News Big Story. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Curtis Ming. Well, would you have enough information about your child if they were taken today? After several kidnappings across the country, a youth football league in the Reno area wants to make sure you do and is raising money while arming parents with the best defense in case of an abduction.
Smile formula, K-Baby on 1, 2, 3.
Snapping photos, taking fingerprints, documenting height and weight. Parents are getting important information printed up about their kids.
So many parents have no idea, how tall their child is, how much their child weighs, and if their child ended up missing and they were to report this, at least they have all of this information readily available.
Teams in the Sierra Youth Football League are raising money. Instead of selling candy bars, they brought in the Kids Safe Child ID Network.
Kind of scares us. All these kids have been going missing lately. We came down to get them all IDs and just to be safe.
The program is completely digital. Fingerprints taken with this machine pop up on a computer screen. So does the child's face, weight, and height. Parents walk away with a printout, ID cards, and a floppy disk with all of the information.
You can hand it over to the police or anything, and then they have their fingerprints, their DNA.
His right thumb.
Law enforcement says having this information could speed up the process and getting word out if your child is taken.
With the kids safe and the Amber Alert, that it all coincides together. Anytime we could do anything to help, keep kids safe, that's a good thing.
Do you have asthma?
It is every parent's nightmare, but if the unexpected happens, these parents feel better knowing they're armed with the tools to bring their kids back safely.
And it's hard to do this because of that, just to even think about it. But on the other hand, I would want any tools available to me to find her.
About 120 kids had their information taken today. The cost $15 for your first child, $10 for each additional. If you want more information on the program, go to our website at ktvn.com. We will link you to the Kids Save Child ID network. The family of a Sparks businessman missing for 2 months is losing hope of finding him alive tonight. Eric McClary was last seen July 2nd along a river in Michigan while on vacation with his wife. Divers and police dogs searched the area for 5 days, but turned up nothing. The 49-year-old longtime Washoe Valley resident is a partner at the Great Basin Brewery Company in Sparks. The Reno toddler shot by his 3-year-old brother is improving tonight. 1-year-old Richie Getton has been taken out of the ICU and is in a regular hospital room after his brother got a hold of a gun and shot him yesterday. The bullet went completely through his leg and out the other side. His father says he thought the gun was out of reach of his kids, hidden in a dresser drawer. Evidently, it wasn't. Now he's warning other parents.
Just keep your guns out of reach. If you don't need them, don't have them.
Investigators say the father could face criminal charges for child endangerment. The boy should be going home within a few days. Reno investigators are asking businesses to watch what they throw out. This after 5 people were arrested for identity theft. Investigators say the suspect tried to buy a computer from a Reno store with a local doctor's credit. Police say the suspects found his credit card number by digging through the trash of some local businesses. Labor Day weekend campers are being turned away at a Sierra campground tonight because of a possible outbreak of the plague. 2 animals tested positive for the disease this week near the Donner Memorial State Park, not far from Truckee. Park rangers closed off the 150 campsites while tests are being taken. The plague is carried by fleas and can be deadly in humans if not treated. Health officials putting out a message to those who have found a place to camp this weekend. Make sure you're covered up and wearing mosquito repellent to protect yourself from the West Nile virus. The campers at the Davis Creek campground say they are taking precautions.
I brought some spray for the kids, a special spray just for the kids, and then the adults have been spraying down with some off. And probably before dusk, we'll start spraying everybody down.
The mosquito-borne virus is making its way west already in Colorado and Wyoming. It could reach Nevada by the fall. The Centers for Disease Control reports 555 people have become infected this year. 28 have died. What type of weather will it be like for the campers tonight? Let's check in with John Potter for a first look at the forecast. Hi, John.
Hi, Curtis. Actually very calm out there for campers unless you get next to a noisy camper like I usually do on Labor Day weekend. We're caught between 2 interesting things here, the jet stream and the conveyor belt of disturbances following along here. One strong one is coming down on Monday. It's very cold. And also over here we have the remnants of a tropical storm bringing some moisture and mid-level clouds into southern Nevada. The rest of the Silver State sunny. It's going to stay sunny tomorrow. Just a little bit of unstable air around Mineral County down by Hawthorne for tomorrow. Like they had today, a little bit of spotty rain elsewhere. Dry. Looks like another day of dry weather tomorrow. We're going to start in the morning at 6 a.m. 55 degrees and sunny skies. Lake Tahoe 42 degrees. And we'll have that 5-day forecast, including what's going to happen when this strong low drops down from the Pacific Northwest coming up in weather. Curtis?
All right, John, we'll see you in a few minutes. Well, despite temperatures in the 90s, about 29,000 free spirits let their hair down today at the Burning Man Festival in the desert. No major problems to report, some saying it's the smoothest Burning Man in recent memory. The week-long gathering climaxed tonight on the ancient lake bed with a ceremonial torching of a 70-foot-high wooden statue of a man. Burning Man happens every year in the Black Rock Desert near Gerlach. It's a celebration of art and radical self-expression, drawing people from 40 states and 20 countries. Well, what would Labor Day weekend be without a barbecue? The 14th annual Best in the West Rib Cook-Off is in full swing now at Victorian Square in Sparks. Rib cookers from around the globe are barbecuing with their best recipes. If you aren't out there today, don't worry. You still have 2 more days to get in on the action. A beautiful start to the weekend out on Lake Tahoe, and if you had the chance to see it for yourself, you may have seen 2 giant river boats racing. The Tahoe Queen, representing California, and the MS Dixie II, representing Nevada, raced 6 miles across the waters of Tahoe today. It's the only race of its kind west of the Mississippi. People from all over the world were on hand, including actress Lonnie Anderson.
This is my first time in the race, yeah. Been on the boats before, but never in the race. This is spectacular.
When it was through, California's boat won 3 minutes ahead of Nevada's. It took a little over 29 minutes for the winning boat to complete the race. Stories we're covering across the West tonight. The next time you cross the Golden Gate Bridge, you'll have to dig a bit deeper. Beginning tomorrow, it will cost you $5 to cross the span. That's up from $3. It's the first toll hike in 11 years. We're told it's designed to help out with a budget shortfall. Across the nation tonight, a train carrying steel derails in Maryland after the bridge it's on collapses underneath it. 7 cars derailed. No one was hurt. The train was on its way from Minnesota to Alabama. Officials don't know why the bridge gave way. Around the world tonight, a top intelligence source says he's sure the man who tried to board a plane with a gun this week in Sweden was planning to hijack the plane and crash it into a U.S. embassy in Europe. Tonight, we are also learning Karam Chaddy flunked out of a flight school right here in the United States 6 years ago. The school is in South Carolina. Investigators are looking for 4 more men they believe worked with the 29-year-old from Tunisia. 5 years ago today, Princess Diana was killed in that tragic car crash. On this anniversary, thousands of mourners stood outside Kensington Palace, placing flowers at the gate in her honor. Diana's boyfriend, Dodi Al-Fayed, also died in the crash in Paris. She was 36 years old.
Coming up on Channel 2 News.
These parents thought their son died, but when they opened his casket, they were shocked. A bizarre case of mistaken identity coming up.
Well, we can worry about how dry it is later. This is one really nice Labor Day weekend forecast coming up with maybe a little bit of rain. We'll show you next.
This is Channel 2 News at 11, covering Northern Nevada and the Sierra. Channel 2 News coverage you can count on.
The event you've been waiting. All right, John Potter here with the forecast. You know, earlier we sent you out, John, to Sparks to the Rib Cook-Off, thinking you would love it. Later I find out you're a vegetarian.
But I got to say, great corns a cob out there. To me, it's a corn cob cook-off.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself at least with the corn cob.
I did. It was funny to see the kids out there because all their faces were half covered in barbecue sauce. You know that. Let's take a look at our clouds that we had today. As we look over of rain. We have some unstable air in Mineral County, which is south around Hawthorne. That's about it. For us, we're in the clear.
Hopefully enough rain so we don't have any fires.
That's right.
You're going to want to stick around for this one, John. Imagine losing a child and going to the funeral home to find the body of another person inside. It happened to a Seattle family. You'll hear their story coming up. Thanks for watching Channel 2 News, KTVN, coverage you can count on.
This is Channel 2 News at 11, covering Northern Nevada and the Sierra. Channel 2 News coverage you can count on.
A Seattle area family is speaking out tonight about their unbelievable story of tragedy and mistaken identity. After a car crash, they were told their 16-year-old son was dead. But when they looked in the casket, they were shocked. Reporter Allison Starling has details of this bizarre story.
One, you don't want your child to die, and then you find out that he did, then you find out that he's alive, and then you go, well, wait a minute.
Sandy Shell clings tightly to a teddy bear signed with messages to her 16-year-old son, John Daniel Grubbs. It was placed in his casket at the funeral, but after the service, a bombshell.
We made a mistake. That's really not your son. You need to go to University of Louisville Hospital. That's where your son is.
Shell knew the moment she looked in the coffin that it wasn't John Daniel, but everyone told her she was in denial.
I loved him and I kissed him like he was my own, even though I didn't believe he was.
Doctors then confirmed it was his friend, Jeremy Heileman, who died, not Grubbs. Jim Schell has been a firefighter in Tukwila for 20 years.
It's so unreal to see this happen. I mean, this is Keystone Cops at its best.
Schell believes the problem started at the scene with the emergency responders and snowballed all the way to the coroner. The town paper even printed an obituary for Grubbs. Now in SeaTac, the couple burns candles and hopes for an end to what they call an indescribable nightmare.
I just want, life to get back to where life should be. That's a long ways off. So it's hard.
Allison Starling for CBS News.
Now, John Daniel Grubbs is still in critical condition at a Kentucky hospital. As of now, the family is not planning on taking any legal action. Wow, what a story there, huh, Garrett?
Weird stuff.
Well, you're excited because we got Wolfpack football starting today.
Wolfpack football, a whole bunch of college football. I mean, the season really getting underway this weekend, Curtis. Coming up in sports, the Wolfpack actually held 12th-ranked Washington State scoreless through one quarter in Seattle. I'll tell you if they could pull off the upset, but also a little high school football as well. Incline and Dayton battling things out. Stick around, sports coverage you can count on next on Channel 2. The Cougs 3-2.
All right, talk to us a little bit about the Wolfpack.
Wolfpack football?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, folks, if you didn't listen to the game, the Wolfpack actually in this one, end of the third, it was like a 14-7 game. And we're talking about the 12th ranked team in the country. So this is not the same Wolfpack as the last couple of years.
Next game coming up?
The 14th of September against Brigham Young. Going to be a rough one, but I'm telling you, they played well today. They really did.
And we have faith.
Yeah.
We're going to pull it off right then.
A few mental mistakes less, and they're right in that game.
All right, thanks, Garrett.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Well, finally tonight here in the Truckee Meadows, we're having the Rib Cook-Off. Over in Buffalo, New York, they're having the Wing Festival. Well, you may not know it, but buffalo wings are actually named after Buffalo, New York. That's where they were founded.
Not real buffalo?
Not real buffalo. Competitors from as far away as Texas converged on the town to cook up their best recipe, and the locals liked it, eating as many wings as they could. Now, not a story for John Potter, the vegetarian.
Well, I was going to say, it doesn't take a whole lot to found chicken wings. Weren't they already invented?
Well, buffalo wings.
Buffalo wings.
Special spicy sauce there, and that's
the name.
What gives that, right. What about you? Big
They
wing
didn't
fan?
come from Buffalo. I'm stuck on that one. That's
right.
good.
Well,
Well,
there
they
we go.
did, but not actual. Is it buffalo or buffaloes, plural?
Buffalo. Buffalo.
I do sports.
Learn something every day. That's it for this edition of Channel 2 News. We have to see you back here tomorrow night at 6:30 and then again at 11. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody.
From the Channel 2 Newsroom, this is breaking news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Curtis Ming. Reno fire crews are cleaning up a suspected arson fire on South McCarran right now. That fire was located near the Long's drugstore on South McCarran near Mira Loma. Broke out within the past 40 minutes. Early reports said furniture outside the building caught fire and then spread to the outside of the Long's Drugs building. At this point, damage looks to be minimal. Once again, they suspect may have been started as an arson fire. We'll have the very latest for you tonight on Channel.
Serena Williams, plus a rooftop concert from Dave Matthews Band. Now your local news.
Straight ahead on Channel 2 News, chaos outside a Reno casino. Pepper spray fumes force an evacuation, sending some to the hospital. Plus, thousands of campers forced to evacuate as this cyclone of flames races their way. Then a stampede of elephants tramples a town. Dozens are killed. This is Channel 2 News at 11 o'clock. Fumes from pepper spray forces the evacuation of a downtown casino and sends some to the hospital with respiratory problems. Where that pepper spray came from and the effect it had is tonight's Channel 2 News Big Story. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Curtis Ming. Well, pepper spray is something many carry as a weapon of defense. Investigators say a man in the Silver Legacy felt threatened today during a verbal argument, and he used it. That created chaos, closing a section of the casino and sending people to the hospital. People taking in oxygen, wiping their burning eyes on the streets of downtown Reno. They were enjoying an afternoon inside the Silver Legacy. The next thing they knew, they were inhaling the fumes of pepper spray.
A lot of people got superficial exposure to it, which caused a little bit of respiratory involvement, coughing and such, burning of the eyes.
The section of the casino was evacuated as emergency rescuers treated victims on the street. Those who were inside the casino say they heard nothing, but the next thing they knew, someone was forcing them outside. Rescuers say in all, about 10 people inhaled the fumes.
It causes an extreme amount of burning, as if you got a chili pepper on your finger and rubbed it in your eye.
3 ended up going to St. Mary's Medical Center. Paramedics say they should be okay.
There's really not a lot of danger involved in that medically, other than a huge amount of discomfort at the initial onset, and then it pretty much goes away after a period of time.
Those people taken to the hospital, once again, they should be okay. Silver Legacy is refusing to talk about what happened inside their casino tonight, but the Reno Police Department says some witnesses felt like the man with pepper spray overreacted. No arrests were made. Well, fire investigators say tonight's blaze outside a Reno Salvation Army store is suspicious. When firefighters arrived at around 6, some couches and other items dumped behind the store were on fire. They put the flames out within minutes, but there was leaking gas after a meter burned.
The gas line's broken over there. They were able to use a frog nozzle pattern to contain the fire and reach in and shut the gas off. That's what contained the fire, kept it from spreading in this building.
No damage was done to the store. Fire investigators are still looking for the exact cause. A few hours earlier in that same neighborhood, investigators say a drunk man on a bike crashed right into a moving car. Reno police say the man in his 40s pulled out right in front of the car at the intersection of Sierra Madre and McCarran. Witnesses say the man on the bike was thrown to the ground.
Car stops and then he stops at the same time and they start going at the same time and they hit each other and the guy falls off his bike and hits his head on the ground.
That man was taken to the hospital and treated for minor injuries. He could be charged for riding his bike drunk. The driver of the car was not hurt. And we want to remind you, if you see news happening, we want to know about it. And now there's an easy way to let us know. All you have to do is dial *2 on your Cricket cell phone and you will be connected to our newsroom. A man taking part in the Burning Man festivities was involved in a serious car crash this afternoon. The accident happened around 12:30 on Highway 447, just south of Gerlach. Officials say the man was headed north when he lost control, his car flipping several times. It came to a rest about 300 feet off the highway. The man was taken by care flight to Washoe Medical Center, where he is listed in serious condition. Investigators have not determined whether the man was under the influence. Well, it was toasty out there, but it didn't stop 29,000 people from the Burning Man Festival. Earlier today, many of the free-spirited people attending were heading back home to resume their normal lives. Organizers of this year's event say it was the smoothest in recent memory. The week-long gathering climaxed last night with a ceremonial torching of a 70-foot-high wooden statue. Burning Man happens every year in the Black Rock Desert near Gerlach. It draws people from across the country and around the globe. And it was a hot one out there today. John Potter joins us for our first look at the forecast. Hi, John.
Hi, Curtis. Yeah, we had our own Burning Man right here. 92 degrees are high. It was the hottest day in 2 weeks for us ever since August. Coming up, Curtis.
10 days before the nation and the world gathers to remember the September 11th attacks, the first We Remember Walk took place today. Those in attendance at the walk gathered at the United States Marine Corps Memorial outside Washington, D.C., and then walked to the Pentagon. Relatives of some of the 9/11 victims were joined by recovery workers to pay homage to those that were lost. Each person took a vow never to forget the victims who died that day.
For every family member, I want you to know that not today, not this year, not next year, nor in the years coming will we forget those whose lives were taken that day.
You may recall the area of the Pentagon that was destroyed in the attacks was reopened last month. Well, this week it's back to work for Washington, D.C. lawmakers who are facing some very difficult decisions. Among the most difficult, how to handle Saddam Hussein. President Bush returned to Washington today for the first time in a month. The Bush administration is saying Hussein is a menace to the world peace and needs to be taken out. Though they're not fully disagreeing, some lawmakers say Bush should get the full support of the Congress before issuing a strike against Iraq.
Iraq does not now have a nuclear weapon and is not now close to having a nuclear weapon, then I do not see any immediate need for going to war with or invading Iraq.
An Israeli newspaper reported last week a U.S. strike date has been set for November 30th. Top U.S. officials are denying that report. Two massive wildfires top our West coverage tonight. Take a look at a cyclone of flames in Southern California. The Curve fire is raging out of control in the Angeles National Forest. So far, it has blackened 10,000 acres. A campground in the area has been evacuated. Several structures have burned, and we're told more are threatened. Officials believe lightning sparked the fire. No one has been hurt. Another fire is burning about 40 miles east of Sacramento in El Dorado County. The Hickok fire has destroyed a home near Folsom Lake. Tonight, the 800-acre fire is just 30% contained. Investigators say a 15-year-old boy started it. He is in custody tonight. In other news across the West tonight, a standoff in Seattle ended when police shot a man with a non-lethal weapon. Before the man's arrest, a neighborhood had to be locked down because the suspect said he had hand grenades. Officials say the man was spotted stripping a car, which later turned out to be his. In that car, police found a pistol and what appeared to be 2 grenades. Here are some of the stories we're covering across the nation tonight. A 16-year-old Florida girl is safe at home after she outsmarted her alleged abductor. Amber Lee Davis told police 30-year-old Ernie Paul Dugas grabbed her from her Florida home and forced her into his car yesterday morning. She says they made their way all the way to a rest stop in Orange, Texas, when the man let her use his cell phone. Amber says she used that phone to call a relative. That relative then called police. The girl also went to a rest area worker for help.
She came up to me, she approached me, and she was saying, do I work here? Because she already seen me, you know, as I was going back inside. So she came to me and she said, I'm scared, you know, I've been kidnapped and she needs help.
An arrest warrant has been issued for Ernie Dugas. Police say he may be driving a 1997 green Pontiac Bonneville with Louisiana plates. A fatal single-engine plane crash this morning in Florida left 2 homes damaged. The crash happened just north of where the plane was supposed to land. Witnesses say the plane hit a tree, then crashed between the homes. The force of the crash caused the plane to catch fire. 2 people were aboard the plane. Both were pronounced dead. The good news, no one on the ground was injured. In news around the world tonight, a devastating story in India. A stampede of elephants has killed at least 22 people there and destroyed dozens of homes. The village with the most damage is Raigarh. Officials say 11 people were killed there and nearly the entire village destroyed. Villagers are blaming the government's ban on elephant hunting, saying now the country has simply too many elephants.
Coming up on Channel 2 News.
Trying to beat that common cold? Well, we all know it's not easy, but new medicine could change that. Details coming up in our Health Watch report.
Well, the weather for your Labor Day barbecue, but we have a chill down coming up. We'll show you in the 5-day forecast next.
This is Channel 2 News at 11, covering Northern Nevada and the Sierra. Channel 2 News coverage you can count on.
John Potter joins us with a look at the forecast. John, it was hot today. I could take the heat, but you know what? It's when we have no winds. That's when I have the problem.
That's when you feel it. And infernally today, the high 95 degrees. You thought 92 was high in Reno. Of course, that's above average by about 6 degrees for Reno. Same thing tomorrow. Oh boy, that should be good for your Labor Day pick. We could touch upper 70s by the end of the week.
Now, I wanted to talk to you about that instability you said south of us, Mineral Hawthorne. We know what lightning bolts can do down in Southern California. We're seeing that. You expect lightning with this?
Not really. It's just a slight chance of rain for the area south of us around Mineral, around Hawthorne for tomorrow. This is a very weakening system, this tropical depression, and just still a slight chance remaining for down there.
Good news when it comes to fires for us. Well, as the old wives' tale goes, you should keep kids away from pets so they don't develop allergies. Is it true? We'll tell you coming up in our Health Watch report. Thanks for watching Channel 2 News, KTVN, coverage you can count on.
This is Channel 2 News at 11, covering Northern Nevada and the Sierra. Channel 2 News coverage you can count on.
Researchers may have found a cure to the common cold. And could pets actually help your babies when it comes to allergies? Wendy DeMonte has those stories and more in this week's Health Watch Week in Review.
The common cold, it's easy to get and tough to shake, but a group of researchers in Virginia think they may be one step closer to curing it. Scientists infected more than 100 volunteers with a cold virus, then treated them with a new cold remedy. The first component of the treatment is the antiviral drug interferon, which attacks the virus itself. The second adds an antihistamine and ibuprofen to block common cold symptoms. Researchers found the new combination reduced symptoms by as much as 73%. The FDA must still approve interferon for use in treating colds. And a wives' tale says keep young babies away from your pets so they don't develop allergies. New scientific research says just the opposite. Of the 474 healthy babies followed for 6 years, only 15% of those who lived with several pets later tested positive for allergies. In other words, children who were around 1 or 2 pets early on were able to better fend off allergies of all kinds later in life. A major medical breakthrough for people suffering from lupus. The FDA has approved the first new test in decades to catch lupus that other tests may miss. Lupus is an immune system disease that causes crippling pain. It often strikes women during childbearing years and may eventually lead to death. But because lupus can trigger a multitude of symptoms, it's tricky to diagnose. The new blood test shows if a person has developed a certain antibody that indicates the presence of lupus. The test is color-coded. The darker the hue, the more likely someone has the disease. Up to 70% of lupus patients carry the antibody. The new test could be available as early as next year. Now, if you'd like to know more about any of these stories, just go to KTVN.com and click on the Health Watch icon. I'll see you Monday for Remind Me Tuesday. Back to you.
Thanks, Wendy. Well, Garrett Dearborn joins us now with a look at what's coming up in sports. Let's talk about the A's.
The A's, that's right. And we're going to talk about a number, Curtis. We're going to tell you why 18 was such a big number today on the baseball scene as the A's took on the Twins, but 18 also big on the tennis scene in New York for the U.S. Open for one Serena Williams. Stick around. Sports coverage you can count on next on Channel 2. He get his second straight win. 15th time he's ever done that. Where's the Southern? Susanville's Mike Skinner, 38th. That was Jimmy Johnson with the tire coming off. He didn't win.
Did not win.
No.
You just can't
I
win.
want to be clear about that.
You have to have your tires on to win.
You need them.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Garrett. A Nevada ghost town is trying to solve a mystery involving something that happened just last weekend. We'll explain. Thanks for watching Channel 2 News. KTVN, coverage you can count on. Folks in a quiet Nevada mining town have a mystery on their hands tonight. Just who was the man who showed up to the town's 100th anniversary celebration claiming to be Wyatt Earp's grandson? Locals in Goldfield, Nevada listened this past weekend as the man told stories about who he said was his granddad and a saloon Earp once owned in nearby Tonopah. But historians say there's a problem. Earp has no kids, so this man must be an imposter. Those same historians confronted the man at last week's event. The alleged imposter took off. The 60-year-old man, who also goes by the name Wyatt Earp, later swore to a reporter he is the grandson of the famous Wyatt Earp, but he declined to show any proof or to take a DNA test.
A DNA test in Goldfield, huh?
Evidently, he's writing a book, and he doesn't want to give away all of his thunder just yet. That's what he told the reporter anyway.
There you go.
You
didn't see the movie, because in the movie you didn't have kids either.
No, he didn't. All right, that's it for this edition of Channel 2 News. We hope to see you back here next weekend. Until then, have a great week, everybody.
Hi, you guys.